Today we are with Ben from the Third Eye. Hi Ben, how are you doing?
G'day, I'm doing well. How you doing?
I'm doing impressed. This is how I'm doing, man. There's some pretty bonkers simulations that you've done in Blender.
Yeah, that was...
Those are some dope simulations for being done in Blender, and you know what I'm talking about. Houdini, for the ones who don't know, in 3D software packages, you've got different types of 3D softwares, right? Some will do some stuff better than others. Blender can do simulations, however, people tend to use Houdini. You can do really good simulations if you're very good at it, you know, in Blender.
Totally.
Do you use a separate plugin for this? Is this the Blender native MantaFlow thing, or what?
So with the giant smoke shockwave, that was made in Embergen, which is a separate program. And then from Embergen created, you know, as high of a voxel count so it looks nice in close-ups, and exported it as a VDB sequence. And yeah,
so you made a geometry out of it?
It's not geometry. I think VDBs are different. It's like, so I rented out 300 frames of the simulation, and the VDB sequence gets imported into Blender. And it's still extremely heavy on the rendering because it must be. It's, you know, a giant smoke cloud which has to simulate light passing through it, etc.
All the volumetric materials within the smoke.
Exactly.
They have to break down all the light rays, so volumetric smoke tends to be rather heavy to render, because when light has to go through it, it has to be broken down, has to be diffused, and it has to be affected in many ways, right? So this is what makes simulations heavy to render,
Yep.
That's really, really interesting. Well, it's super well done, man.
Cheers.
So, well, I mean, just so for the ones who don't know, Ben, the Third Eye, has been doing a lot of music videos for Alpha Wolf. Most commonly known, Akudama, right?
Yeah.
Probably is he still your favorite one, man?
Yeah, it's my favorite. Not because it's probably the most well-known. It's my favorite because...
It is the most well-known from Alpha Wolf.
It's just like, when we made it, there was no expectations, and we all I was like, just had total freedom. So when we released it, it was just like, yeah, cool, we're really happy with how it looks, and then everyone else was like, yeah, this looks awesome as well. So that was a bonus.
It's very into like Savian's art style too, you know?
Yeah,
he likes
exactly.
that stuff a lot,
Pop culture.
Anyway, so for the ones who don't know, he's done so many music videos for Alpha Wolf, notably Akudama, Hotel Underground as well, right?
Yeah. Yep.
You just came from doing like a massive tour photography thing with Parkway Drive? Wow.
Yeah, so I'm working with Parkway Drive again.
Sick.
And yeah, doing, you know, touring stuff, and I'm, you know, touring with Alpha Wolf in America last year, and touring with Parkway. So yeah, it's really busy on all the media fronts, music videos, tour
and
photography.
The Artist Murder as well. The Artist Murder, you made like 3 or 4 music videos for them.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Die Art, we did some really fun ones there, and it's just been a crazy 12 months.
All right, so let's get into this music video that they just got released a week ago, I believe so, or something like that, right? Whenever you're ready, from Alpha Wolf, right? So I wanted to ask as well, like these Medusas right here, like this looks sick. What is this?
The jellyfish?
yeah, jellyfish, Medusas, or whatever.
So like the whole idea of the music video is that, you know, if you read the lyrics and if you ever spoke to the band members about it, it's kind of about, I guess, you know, talking to someone that you've lost, like maybe a loved one who's passed away, or, you know, anything kind of under that umbrella of losing someone. And when I was thinking of ideas for this, I was thinking of, you know, I want each band member to kind of have a motif, and the motif might be linked to that special loved one, or it might be linked to the band itself. And that's just kind of like where the idea for each of the objects that kind of I've 3D rendered around each of the band members. So like in the bridge section of the song, you'll see it. Yeah.
You got some snowflakes, that's one of the motifs, right?
Yeah, exactly. So like each of the motifs that get represented in this bridge section is it's the part of the music video where I can show it off the best. And essentially, you know, Alpha Wolf had this logo called the Cold Heart, and the Cold Heart is like a heart shape with a snowflake in the middle of it. And, you know, when I was thinking of motifs for Scotty, we were talking about the Cold Heart. And I was like, you know what? I want to do snowflakes around Scotty. We tried a few different things. So yeah, he ended up with
that you didn't like.
What's that, sorry?
What did you guys try that you didn't like? Like, how was the process? Like, tell me a little bit about that.
The boys are very hands-off when they work with music videos for me. So I was like...
They trust you.
Yeah, exactly. They're very busy themselves. So it's like they don't want to be, you know, wasting energy and time picking things apart that don't probably matter in the big picture. Yeah, so like we tried a few different things. I tried like different animals around Scotty, but I just kept coming back to the idea of... you know, something that's relatable to the band, and that was the snowflake. Yeah, and then like in this part, I wanted it to be like time is frozen still, so you know, we filmed them with like a mechanical robot arm and
motion control robot, right? Like you guys had like a robot arm. I'll put a picture of this right now here, so you know what I mean. And basically, you got the robot and it's recording in slow motion, or is this real time?
It was recording at 60 frames a second. And all I said to Scotty was, you know, stand still and then we'll rotate the camera. And
I mean, like, you think about the span of time to get this in 60 frames is like, I mean, all right, so let's just play it back in real time. Hang on. Oh, done. So it's basically he's just standing quite literally for like a second and a half.
Yeah,
something like that.
Pretty much,
Around that, And then you make it 3 seconds when you're like at 60p. The video is 25, I think so, right? Something like that, So it's like a 2x slow-mo.
Yeah, we had a lot of ideas for this music video that didn't end up in the final cut.
Tell me a bit of some of them if you want. If you want to share some of them, feel free. Or maybe it's cool. It's cool to understand how a music video idea starts, how it evolves, and how it ends.
Of course,
you know what I mean, right?
And I say to everyone I work with, like, you know, there are 3 stages to an idea, and there will be like the idea when it's written on paper, and then the idea when it's actually filmed or created, and then the idea when it's edited. And that it will evolve in each of those processes just due to the nature of, you know, things going wrong, you know, ideas don't work out, maybe we come up with new ideas. Or things going
too well.
Exactly. So it's like, hey,
sometimes you'll go into a shot and you'll be like, damn, this looks fucking sick. Let's just go ahead, make more shots like this, right? And
exactly. Yeah, 100%.
Happens, Scotty here with the snow, we would like you thought of putting some animals, but then the snow feels better because he's like a cold, hard kind of person, right? So
yeah, like
is that it? Yeah.
It was just like the motif that the band uses quite often is that cold heart. So the cold heart is just something synonymous with the band, and
he's wearing the heart T-shirt too here.
Yeah, and like he's wearing a heart shirt. I didn't even notice that. But
oh shit. Yeah, I just noticed it. No, we're watching it like this. Yeah. All right. So then Sabian, what's this red stuff like? Blood or?
So Sabian's is rubies and
rubies. Oh right.
Yeah. So rubies are his mother's birthstone for her month, and you know Sabian's mother passed away a few years ago, and as I said, the song is about, you know, people you want to connect with again who you may not have the chance to because they've passed away. Right. So the motif is, you know, related to his mum essentially. And you know, that was one of the first ideas I came up with because I know how to render out gemstones pretty easily, and then I was like, this would be pretty
materials, cool. Get a bunch of reflections and things shining inside,
and then, you know, give them some glint and make them shine a little bit, and it kind of looks cool. So I was like,
it looks very cool. And a good trick in this shot I see you used is creating loads of depth. You see we've got a very clear foreground here, right? Like we've got 2 big gemstones going right in front of the screen. We've got, hang on, let's get that little flare right here, right? Yep. So this is telling us these 2 gemstones are very close to the camera, but then we've got like masses of gemstones floating behind him, which is creating this like sense of depth from the layers in the shot, right? And it's also this gemstone here going in front of the guitar, but not too many of them because then it would get really overloaded and Sabian would get kind of lost, right? So finding the amount of balance of objects you want to make float can be kind of tricky, I guess, you know, like for this type of scenes, this type of like scenes in general where someone's like in a room and things are. Anyway, well, I wanted to ask, this is not a green screen, is it? This is not just a black background.
Yeah, this is just black. So like what I was saying before, we had a heap of ideas, and you know, music videos, you always run out of time on the day, so you just work with what you got. But
you've got nothing going around behind him, so that's a very smart way of getting the effects in without a green screen.
Exactly.
It's just, if you don't really need to have anything going behind that person, or if what's going behind that person is just a small segment in the footage plate, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not like a big building right behind him where he's like completely in front of the building. Then you would need to cut that out, rotobrush that shit or whatever with a green screen or something, right? But in this case, because there's nothing going behind Savian, it just works. You can track the entire scene, not pull any keys, and stuff just works. Yeah. And even if you had like a Ruby going behind him, like for example around here or something like that, you could just cut out this little part of his arm here, get the Ruby thing to go behind him, and that's it. And you wouldn't need green screens for this, right?
Exactly, man. Yeah, that's exactly how I approached it.
Awesome, man. This is smart, man. Like this is the kind of stuff that I like talking about and breaking down all of these like smart moves here as well. It's just foreground.
Yeah,
it's just on the top. That's it. And that's just a crane shot, or maybe you guys had the camera on the robot here or something. I guess not.
Yeah, we had a big crane because there was a few shots that didn't make the cut that I wanted to do with those vertical ones. But the general idea is I wanted to just get some camera angles that were a bit different compared to, you know, like when we were talking about this music video, the original conversation I had with the guys was like, I want to create a music video that isn't like Sucks to Suck and isn't like Bring Back the Noise, the first two singles of the album. Yeah. I said, I want to create something that's a little different, and that includes camera angles, how I want to do the 3D stuff, all that fun stuff. So yeah, that was just my thought process of trying something out.
Just really quickly, let's go through the rest of motifs, because I mean these scenes are like super fucking nice, man. We got some butterflies here, yellow butterflies. Why yellow? Is that a reason? Or?
Why yellow? So the color is actually because I remember growing up, I had a book about native wildlife in the city I live in, and the front cover of the book was
in Australia.
Yeah,
wildlife. Yeah. Oh no shit! I heard everything's dangerous down there. Right? There's like spiders that will murder you in less than a second or something.
Yeah, I couldn't put murder spiders in the music video, so I went with the butterflies. So
shit.
Yeah, that's why they're green, and I did John with butterflies because they also have a butterfly motif in a lot of Alpha Wolf stuff. Like if you watch Hotel Underground, there's a part in there where there's like a little butterfly flying across the screen and little Easter eggs like that.
And let's put that Easter egg there. Hang on, write it down. So.
And like again, picking a butterfly was kind of good because the butterflies are animated, and having a element that's dynamic. Going back to Scotty, it's easy to make snow dynamic because snow falls from the sky, butterflies flap their wings, and then like you'll see the rubies, I can rotate and levitate them around Sab, and then we've got Lockie with the cherry blossoms from Japan, which I think look
These
really
ones,
cool.
Yeah, this set.
Yeah, so I was like...
cherry blossoms here,
Yeah, so I was like, the cherry blossoms are cool and they're easy to animate because, they're falling flowers.
And the Medusas with Mitch, they look fucking sick, man.
Yeah, so Mitch said to me, can I do something around the ocean? And I'm like, how the hell do I get the ocean floating around you in a black space? It's kind of tricky. And again, it goes back to wanting something that's kind of dynamic. And animals are dynamic. That's why they're a great asset to lean on. And above Mitch, there's water splashes, and it's kind of like the jellyfish are kind of come out from the water in a way.
I was going to ask. So these are like water splashes, right?
Yeah.
Is it 3D water splash, or is it just a 2D thing?
It's just a simulation that's been converted to an Alembic file. So I picked a water splash in the file, and I'm like, that looks good, and gave it kind of a water shader to... Yeah.
It looks insane, looks really good, and the shininess is cool.
Yeah, try to make it shiny so it covers up covers up anything. But
lower samples make stuff shiny. When you want to make the road look wet, you render at like 20 samples, and then it's only vibrating. It looks like rain is hitting it.
Yeah,
I didn't hear that. I saw someone do this once, and I was like, how does this look that good, man?
Yeah, wow. That's a cool trick.
dude, it's a nighttime shot. There's a road, imagine, right? And you want to make the road like vibrating from the rain falling on it, but you want to put rain in After Effects, not in Blender, right? Because it would be a shit show otherwise. So they would just render only the road at like really low samples. So it's kind of like with the optics denoiser or whatever, it will get kind of like wobbly a bit. You know what I mean, right?
I know exactly.
So when you put the overlay of the rain in front of it, it actually looks like the rain's hitting the road.
That's it. That's a cool trick.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah, just those little like specks of shininess from like the actual noise from the render ray tracing, but low sample something, right? So yeah. I wanted to ask as well, like overall, you're shooting these on anamorphic lenses, right?
No. So this is all shot on a Sigma 18-35, the entire clip.
You just cropped it, that's it?
Yeah, I just cropped it because I like that framing and aspect ratio, and it also means less rendering for me too, if I have less resolution to deal with.
Yeah, and also tracking anamorphic lenses can be a bit iffy thing to do.
Yeah, so when we hired the robot arm and we were setting up the robot shots, we're actually using a set of lenses. They're not anamorphic, but they were like some really strong vintage ones. And we're testing them out, and I was getting incredible flares. They were super beautiful and smooth, except I'm not rotoing around flares, and I'm not wanting to match those characteristics of that lens. So I just went for something super clean, super simple, just to make my life easier.
Man, like that's the dilemma I have too. I have some really funky, nice lenses, man, and I also like doing VFX, but it's just combining those two things.
Totally, yeah.
It sometimes can work, sometimes can't. Sometimes I wish, man, like cameras would just have like, and this is just my personal run here, but dude, I want an M2 drives inside the camera, and I want a camera running Linux.
Yeah.
And I want the camera running Blender, and I want that camera getting like instant gyro data onto the footage itself. I just don't understand why nowadays we can't do this, man. Like, I want the camera to generate a Blender file with a camera tracked within it already at the length of the footage that you capture. Can you imagine how fucking useful would that be? And we can do it. It's not that we can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting because the Blackmagic cameras have gyro data in the footage.
Yeah. Why not just go ahead and get like the camera to export a Alembic, I don't know, whatever format, doesn't matter, man. Just get me a 3D camera moving as the real footage camera would get. I mean, the camera needs to know floor height and so on and so forth, and this should be a setting that you have to like turn on purpose, and then the camera goes like, wait, hang on, I can't just know where I am, where I'm at. Totally. You gotta give me like an origin or something, right? And then you're like in a studio and you set the origin up or something, or maybe even have the like a third item thingy that can give the camera like distance information or whatever data the camera needs to know where is it. That's awesome. So these are just Sigma lenses, right? And you shot on like a little Sony FX somethings or?
So Sigma lenses, we shot, I think about 70% of it was shot on a Blackmagic Pocket 4K cinema. And that's just the camera I like, and I just know I know how to expose, and you know what music videos are like. It's very quick on set, so I need something that I just know how to use. The crane shots, though, were actually filmed on a Komodo X, I believe.
Oh, so you had different sensors going on here.
Yeah, it was purely because the
Wait, hang on. So this is the Komodo?
No, so anything that's in the sky looking down is the red, and anything on the ground would be Blackmagic.
This is the red then?
Yeah, so that'd be red with the high shot, and then this is all Blackmagic.
I can't tell, man. I can't tell the difference.
Yeah, I mean, once you do a color grade and crush all the blacks and all that, it's kind of same.
No, I mean, if you told me it's all the same camera, I would have not bat an eye. I mean, obviously,
and that's why, perfect, man. Yeah, that's why I don't stress about what camera I use, because I'm using a camera that I bought for $1,000 versus a camera that's worth 4 or 5 times as much.
Let's break this down really quickly for people to understand that equipment really doesn't fucking matter. Like, it doesn't matter, man. I'm talking to you from a 20-year-old camera.
Yeah,
like it doesn't matter. It's how you use it. It's what you do with it.
Yeah,
and every camera has a look. Every lens has a look and a purpose and a place for a different project, isn't it?
Exactly. And like the way I approach music videos is that, the lens is the flavor that you're going to give your image. So if you're shooting like a daytime shot and you want it to look really unique, you might be getting anamorphic, so you might be using like certain Helios lenses with like swirly backgrounds. Or if you want to do something clean, sharp, and easy to work with VFX, you might go for, you know, Sigmas or RE primes or something like that.
You want something kind of like not too dramatic, something that gives you more of a clinical kind of image so that it's easier to deal with in terms of VFX, right? But if then you're using some vintage Russian 1940s super flary F whatever lens from something with crazy flares, doing VFX with that is like good luck, mate.
Yeah. And like
and anamorphic lenses too.
I own my own little anamorphic setup and I love it because it's super characteristic. Like there's flares and swirly bokeh and all
but
that.
It's not what but you didn't use it for this one because you wanted to make those VFX.
It's heavy, it's bulky, and like that's a whole rabbit hole you could go down looking at lenses. But like camera bodies, everything's shooting at like 10-bit these days, 10-bit 422 and like if you wanted to get real specific for this music video, like you look at the music video and you go, what's actually happening in it? And it's like they're shooting in a black room with one light. You don't need a lot of dynamic range. Like you just need to expose for the skin tones, and and if you want, you'll notice that I add in flares in some of the shots just to give it a bit of character, and that's and that's totally fine. Like no one's probably going to think twice about it.
No, not really. No, and this like equipment is just relevant to a certain extent, and like, you know, different equipment will yield different things, and also like different cameras and lenses. I like to say that they put the power down in different ways and different areas. As you say, this shot is there's two Lokis here, so this is a tripod shot, and then you move it in post, or what's going on?
So this is all robot arm, and
okay, so you need robot arm multiplying here,
yeah, which it was kind of an accident. So the whole the choruses in this music video are like using some warping style effect, and I told the boys, hey, you know,
like these warping effects, you mean, right?
Yeah. So I told the boys, you know, I want you to perform in 3 different areas in this little circle here, and then you know. So
you gave them a circle, like an area.
It's pretty much where the light was landing. So it's like the light was dictating.
Like here, right? Like this.
Yeah. Yeah, that the lighting setup there was a little different, but that's kind of the general idea. So
I'm trying to find not this one. That's the breakdown shot that we save for later.
Yeah, sure.
Something like that, right? You mean you gave them like an area?
Yeah, and it was just one soft box above them, and I said, hey, perform in the center, perform slightly to the left, perform slightly to the right, and then when Lockie was doing his performance, he happened to stand off to the left and stand off to the right, and there was a nice clean line down the middle. So like when you're watching the music video, it's like one version of him, and then like the second version of him splits out. And that was just kind of a coincidence. It wasn't pre-planned. It was just how he was performing. I was just going to say, you'll see the parallax of his body moving, so it couldn't have been a tripod shot because it kind of changes angles.
Exactly. That's what I was getting like, how did you fucking do this? Kind of like, the only way to do it properly is with a robot,
Yep.
Even though like some of those perspectives you could probably get away by cheating. You could
totally.
do it. You could, if you really get it just right, to get the movement to be right. It's cheated away, right? Cheated a bit, but it works perfectly, man. By the way, this is just like a studio warehouse, or?
Yeah, it's just a big concrete warehouse that I've used before. And I was just like, the whole idea was we didn't have a lot of time, and obviously it's a high concept music video. So I kind of set up 3 different areas in the warehouse. Like we had the robot area, then we had the crane area, and then we had the flag area.
That's the crane area, right?
Yep, that's a crane area, and that's
right. Again, then you have the robot area here.
Yeah, and just had the robot, and it's all like the whole idea was the key light for each shot could be moved around on wheels. So once we're done with the robot, we'd just move the key light over to the second area, and then we can pack down the robot and just try to keep it a nice, smooth production throughout.
That's something I like to focus a lot to, getting the stuff to be smooth and make it easy and comfortable for people around, because I realized one thing: when you make shoots feel smooth, people will trust you more, and they'll give you better performances.
Totally. Yep.
If you seem unconfident about what you're doing, or if you seem like you're not sure about how this is gonna look or something, people will get that feel from you, I feel. And it ultimately shows in their performance later.
Yeah.
What I'm going, like, even the idea is not 100% clear in my mind, I'll try to show that it is. I'll just be like, look, this is what we're going for, that's the vision, and so on and so forth. And like, people gets motivated with that, I feel, and
Absolutely, man. And like being having a smooth production and, you know, knowing what you want to achieve and do, the crew is then more efficient as well. So
not overdo it with the hours too, but rather be efficient more than overdoing it. Optimize.
Absolutely. Try our best to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't. That's the dream. No, but I mean, I've met producers that they'll be like, "Oh, we've got to get like 35 frames for this commercial. Let's just get the crew working 20 hours." But they're actually like planning to do that, like on purpose, like 20-hour shifts. And I'm just like, you could do that in less time, probably, if you got less people running around, maybe.
Yeah,
you know?
and that, like, again, this music video was. Yeah. I think 4 crew members on it. So there was me, a producer, and 2 people helping with the lighting.
You want to show them out? I'll put links of them or whatever. Let me know, man. What are the names? What they do?
I'll have to get their handles. But yeah, it was a totally small crew. And it's just because I knew what I wanted to shoot and I knew how I wanted to shoot it, and I kind of knew how long it would take.
You know that because of experience, because you've done it.
Yeah, and the other thing is, me being the director and the VFX person and the DP, I kind of know how I want everything to be, and I don't need to go through and have meetings and discussions about what the next shot's going to be. I'm just like, hey, let's set this over here, and then I'm straight into it.
The best directors are the ones that put together their own shit, let me tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised.
Me as director, I find it really hard to, because I'm like I'm saying, you and me are kind of like clones here, man. Like, we really are. You direct and edit. I edit everything I direct, whether they're commercials or not. I hardly work with other editors unless it's like hardcore VFX. But as far as the cut and the editing and like putting the final video together, unless it's like a 3-hour-long documentary where I need some help to put interviews together, right? If it's music videos or commercials, man, I'm putting that stuff together myself, just because of what you said. You avoid so many meetings, you save so much time if everything happens within the same brain, isn't it? And not just that, but when you're shooting, you already know how you're going to put that together. But not only that, you already know if some shot is valid or not for VFX, because you're your own supervisor. Are those geometry nodes, the buildings? That's a geometry node or what?
That's just a city asset that I've just copied and pasted.
You should say they're all procedural, man. I made all of these by geometry nodes, and I didn't look at the single fucking tutorial. I knew all of them by head.
No,
you know geometry nodes, yeah, like they're a big confusing mess.
I just like, my approach to 3D is like a kid in a sandbox, and you're given a bunch of toys, and it's like, what do you want to make? And I'm like, well, I want to make an explosion that's inspired by Akira, and the explosion is going to represent something.
And it comes from Loki smashing the mic onto air, like, boom, explosion.
Yeah, because it's like, it kind of represents their worlds falling apart. It comes to this big part in the song, and it's like, it's a motif that's used at the very start of the song. Like, you know, the first shot is the explosion in reverse. And then it shows...
it's in reverse. Hang on. I didn't realize this part. Wait. It's imploding, right?
And then if you look at the big city shot, you'll see the smoke actually contracting towards...
Yeah, that's the thing I was going to ask you about. You were saying that the explosion is imploding or something. I was like, yeah, like the smoke's kind of like going towards the inside. It's not really going out, is it?
The very, very first shot of the music video.
Like the beginning, you mean?
Yeah, the very first one.
Here. Oops.
Yeah, so that's actually heading towards the explosion. The smoke is contracting in that shot. And the reason I did that is because I wanted it to be kind of like, you know, the music video has various shots where it feels like things are getting claustrophobic. You know, you'll notice it in some of the band member shots, the smoke things are contracting and expanding, and, you know...
Yeah, like there's a few shots where they've got smoke around them, like here.
Yeah, and... Yeah, that like...
Wow, that's a cool shot, by the way. We're going to talk about this one later.
Okay.
later. No, hang on. So, I can see the smoke. It's kind of... You're trying to, like, close them in, like, the smoke is closing into Loki here. You can see here. Yeah, the smoke's creating like a little window and closing in on Loki.
And that was just a last minute idea I had when I was editing, because, you know, we had...
this was post shooting, yeah. You had this idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Sick.
But yeah, when the breakdown hits, or post bridge, the you know, it expands.
This part, you mean, yeah.
it's destroying, their world.
You speed up Loki here, didn't you? That's a very quick.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think it might be because I wanted his action of hitting the ground was too slow compared to when the actual music kicks in. So I wanted to get that action in before the music cut over.
Don't tell anybody, but that's a secret. Many music videos will do. It's like speed up just that last bit so it smashes just on time. Yeah. It's all about the timing, man. It's like with music videos, I feel that composition and color and all the things, obviously they're all very important, but timing. Like getting things to just click, like with the sound, you know what I mean, right? It has to work.
It's music, so you got to work around it.
And then here you've got like some Displacer Pro thingy going on,
so that's just
the distortion around the smoke, right?
That's just displacement map that I put on because if an explosion's going off, it's obviously going to be displacing the air around it.
And I love the most like this part here, like the little highlights on the buildings. You got like a little red.
Oh yeah, so I color
you did that on
graded.
purpose, man. That here you can tell on the corner here.
I mean, it's so the bomb itself is just a sphere, that has like an emission shader on it. So it's just a big bright light that's expanding in scale. And then it's obviously lighting up everything, all the geometry closest to it. And then when I did the color grade, I gave it some halation. You see halation a lot in like cine still film.
Yep. Halation, let's explain halation really quick. It's kind of like similar to highlight diffusion.
Yep.
But it's not the same, is it? I'm confused with it, actually.
Yeah, so I can't tell you why it's not similar to diffusion, but it's essentially in any highlights, it kind of gives off a bit of an orangey red glow. And you see it in a very popular film stock called Cine Still 800.
Yeah, you're right. It comes from like the an old film stock. What's the name of it again?
The most common one, I believe, is Cine Still 800.
You know your shit on photography very deeply, I believe, yeah.
I don't touch film cameras like at all, ever.
At all, ever. Okay.
But
I
understand and I learn a lot about film stock and the characteristics of film stock. And
well, you've never shot a film off-roll, though.
I've shot some film on like an analog camera, but I don't go out of my way to buy it. I'm not really into it too much because it's expensive.
I find it cumbersome too here, man. He didn't say on it's cheap. I've got to admit, it's like $6 to scan a roll. So it's not really. Yeah. How much is it in Australian?
I think it might almost be like. It depends how quick you do it. I can't even remember. I think it might almost be like $1 a photo, maybe. So like maybe 30 Australian, maybe. Yeah, I mean, someone might be like, "Oh, I get it done for $10." I'm like, "All right."
Yeah. All right. So this shot just really cool shutter speeds, right?
Yeah.
They're not fast. They're cool.
It's funny. Like this shot, we literally were just waiting between takes to do something, and I was like, "Sabian, come over here. I need to film some shots." And I wanted to get the really wobbly string effect, so I filmed at an extremely high shutter speed. I think like 1/2000.
Is he just playing random notes or?
No, he's playing the song actually. Yeah.
Okay. No, I mean they look really crazy. I've tried this shot quite a few times, but I've never got something as dramatic as this. He was hitting them hard.
Yeah, he was hitting them hard, and his strings were a little looser, and I was shooting
that's the cheat, isn't it? You gotta get the strings loose.
There's definitely one factor, but I will say you got to shoot at an extremely high shutter speed.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Minimum 500,000, something like that. No?
Yeah, I think it was like 1/2000 for me for this one.
Yeah, also like probably just if you ever want to get that shot on your own music videos or whatever, like you got to test it out. Like you just try different shutter speeds, see how it looks, and you slow that down probably, I believe, later in post or whatever.
I don't think I did slow that down. No, this was all 24 frames a second.
What's going on here? What did you do? All of these black roots and this kind of like, dude, it's just like I look at these things and I'm like, half of your music videos, I'm like, all right, yeah, I can figure out how you did it. This is a shot. I have no idea how the fuck you.
What's really? Okay. You know, I had a lot of ideas for this eye shot. Because you know there's a really cool poster from the anime movie Akira where the explosion kind of morphs into the eye, and that's where I've kind of started this second verse. I was like, the explosion, kind of do like a simple match cut style thing here where, you know, the center of the explosion is like the iris of the eye. And
I'll find that and put it in the video.
yeah. So there's this poster, and I was like, oh, you know, and the idea that I originally had for this section wasn't working out, because I think the lyrics are like, there's an ocean of stones or something like that, Lockie says. And I wanted to have like 1,000 stones around him, and we just didn't have enough time on the day to frame it up how I wanted. And I still wanted to do like an ocean effect. So
how do you make 1,000 stones look good too? Like, it's just a pile of stones, man. Right?
Yeah, and that's the other thing. It's like maybe the idea originally wasn't as good. So when I'm like in 3D and I'm playing around and experimenting, like, yeah, you know what, this isn't maybe not working as well as I hoped. And I was like, you know, I want to do something interesting to reveal him, and it'll be like the explosion into the eye, and then the eye revealing Lockie, and essentially it looks like roots, but it's actually like a bunch of water that's kind of like miscolored and stuff. And if I actually showed you the Blender project or what it looks like an ocean.
That's water.
Yeah.
Is that the water modified in Blender?
Yeah, it is the water modifier in Blender actually. Yeah. And it's kind of like rippling and stuff.
making irises with the ocean modifier.
Oh, so
let me take some notes here, mate. Let me take
so actually, what's surrounded by Lockie is the ocean modifier, but the actual eye and the iris was just the 3D model.
Right. You mean the black thing is water?
Yeah, so that's an ocean modifier, and then I've masked around him and tried to match the lighting.
Wait, ocean. Hang on. Wait. Yeah, okay, yeah. Now I could dial the ocean modifier, but you're like overlaying it. You're rendering it. You rendered it and then applied it like as a layer mode or something. Or what's going on here? But
I just
it looks like very organic, like blood vessels kind of thing, or like nerves. Or, I don't know.
Which is kind of cool, I guess. And like that wasn't my intention, but I mean it works out. Which is, you know, this one of those.
It looks very organic here. Like this shot right here, man. Like this is super organic, right?
That's sick to hear. Like
it looks like a lizard. Looks like a lizard's eye almost, mostly because of the green color of it, right? But if you look at it from far away, like from really far away, just this frame like this, it looks like a dragon's eye or some kind of like
that's cool.
Lizard type, reptilian kind of thing eye.
Yeah,
reptile. Sorry,
and
reptilian.
Like the idea, like you kind of went from that Akira bomb into the eye, and then there's like there's a shot in Neon Genesis that I really like, where I think Unit 1 pops out of an eye. It's like a pretty popular GIF. I'll send you a file of that, what it looks like. But what I wanted to do is
Genesis.
I wanted to have a scene where Lockie was going to be kind of like appearing out of an eye. But we just couldn't, again, it's like one of those things on the day, we just ran out of time to film that specific shot, so I just had to work around it.
Right. No, but it looks great, man. It's fantastic. And then you go here the same thing.
Yeah, just kind of that eye motif and, you know, Eye of the Beholder. And that eye kind of gets revealed by that smoke again. So it's like, you know, just continuing.
Right. Yeah, that's super sick, man. Cool. And then let's go on to the other shots like here. Well, why are you guys here? What is this?
Yeah, it's just the same warehouse, and
that's inside a warehouse?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was outdoors.
No, you can see in the see the skylights in the warehouse. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't see that. Right, that's the roof or something.
Yeah,
must
exactly.
Be. Yeah.
And I just wanted to.
How did you get the flags to move like this, man? You had some big fans, huh?
Yeah, well, that's a funny thing you say there, because my producer hired a fan, and he didn't test the fan, so we got on the location, and I'm like, the flags weren't waving, and I'm like, you got to go hire another fan, bro. So that was one of the hiccups on the day. It's like, you know, we're stressing about making 5 flags wave, and, you know, they're 3 meters tall and 6 meters tall. Like the two at the back are 6 meters tall. They're really high up.
Yeah, that's hard to make you wave, man. You need some wind to do that. That's not a household fund that will do that.
No, we got some.
Not even a big one. Like you need like a bunch of like really massive fans.
Yeah.
Okay, if you didn't have a fan, let's put a challenge here. If the fan failed, let's just say fan didn't work, shit fell apart, plan didn't work out. What would have you done here? It's
a good question.
I would have maybe just have somebody move them out of frame.
Yeah, well, we had 2 smaller fans out of frame there that were blowing up at them to help the ones on the edges move a bit. But if that completely failed, I'm honestly not sure what I would have done.
Do you need the flag? What's the motive of the flags? This is I mean, I love the shot. I love it, and I get the feeling of it. The only shot I don't really understand is this one. I mean, I like the visual and the aesthetics. I don't get the meaning of it though.
Well, that's the thing. Like, it was just an aesthetic shot. I just saw something that inspired me, and I was like, you know what? I think this would be kind of cool. Like, no one's really done it in a music video that I know of, and you know, let's give it a go. Like,
yeah, no, it looks cool. Yeah,
there was a few ideas with the flags, like but there's a lot of issues. Like the flags were quite wobbly, so if I showed you some of the footage, you'd see the flagpoles like wobbling left and right because you know.
Yeah, he is very cut really quick, so you can't tell. Yeah, but
yeah, and what I wanted to do was some special effects with the flags, where the band members would be moving in slow mo, and the flags would be like normal speed, and then it would be reversed, so the flags would be in slow mo, stuff like that. Just kind of.
We got a green screen that though here for sure.
Well, we actually did get green screen footage, except when I was editing it, I was like, yeah, these flagpoles are waving too much, so we just didn't end up doing it.
You could have rendered those flagpoles though.
Yeah,
it's not tricky. It's just a basic class simulation with a stick.
I've already got like flags and stuff already.
Yeah. It's like
except like matching the lighting here, and you know, 3D isn't always the answer, particularly.
No, it's not
for realism. And the thing is, this did the job, so it was just like.
Yeah, no, it works. And if it's cut quick, man, like I also like those are the things that like we always fall into the same trap. Every director does, and whoever says that it doesn't, I don't believe them. But when we're making something, we'll see that one thing that makes your eyes bleed, you know,
yeah,
it's like makes you itch on the inside, and you're just like, everybody's gonna notice that.
Yeah, and like.
But actually, no, because you're cutting this really quick. And to be honest with you, man, even if the flagpoles were moving and bouncing around all over the place, I would have thought that would have been a creative decision, and I would have not even bat an eye to it. Like if you told me, like if the flags were like going like this, bunkers and so on, right? And this is something that really bothers you, as you told me, right? Like it bothered you to the extent that you a few babies because of that. If you don't know, baby means killing a shot you really like. Of course. Right? Yeah. So you had to cut few babies due to that. So sometimes we get really stuck with an idea, say like, this is not gonna work. People's gonna notice that, or this is the only thing people's gonna look at. You know?
And it was funny, like when I was editing this, I didn't like these shots too much because they didn't work out how I wanted them to. But, you know, Sabian and the guys are like, yeah, the flag scenes are cool. Like, let's add some more of them. And I was like, all right, like, it's easy for me.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, out of all the shots you have going on, this is probably like the easy ones to put, right?
Yeah,
it's just footage, right? Cut it in. Yeah, because that's the thing, right?
That's the reason why they're all static. Like, those ones are shot on tripod because I wanted to do...
the flags, yeah.
I wanted to do, like, the green screen and then the plate on the background. But if I was to do this again and knowing that I wasn't going to do that effect, I'd probably shoot it on a gimbal and give it a bit of dynamics.
I mean, yeah, if you're just going to be cutting it in, then... But honestly, you know what, man? I kind of like the staticness of the shots here, and I would go as far as saying if you made these shots on a gimbal, I don't think they would have matched that well into the music video. Just because the other shots are also static, so it kind of goes along with the concept of the music video, right? Which is like this very like really well put down, static, big wide shots, you know, where you have like full body and you can, you know what I mean, right? And you're doing all of the tracking around them and so on in the studio and whatever. It looks great. So having like super moving dynamic shots here, however cool the movement is, I'm not sure it's a better option than what you just did right here, which is like only he moves.
And the other thing is, a lot of my music videos are quite dynamic, I guess.
Yeah.
Like if you watch 60 Centimeters of Steel, the band performance is, you know, I'm moving around them quite frequently. So like having this music video is something that's, again, even with concept and camera movement wise being different, is, you know, I'm happy with that as well. And you know, how can you make a music video in a warehouse look unique with a bunch of dudes just headbanging? And it's like, okay, well, how do I go from shot A to shot B and make it look interesting? And I'm like, I saw this morphing effect. and it's not just a morph cut. There's like multiple layers, masking, specific shot planning. It's quite intense, and I still didn't nail it. There's a lot more I could have done, but it was just, like I said, maybe each chorus probably took me like 5 days just to get like a version of it done, because the render times are just so intense.
Render for these shots?
Yeah.
Why?
Because the amount of layers and masking, and it's all 4K, and
I would expect the Blender simulations to be heavier.
This isn't in Blender. This is all After Effects.
I know. But I'm saying, like, I would expect the same everything you did on Blender to be heavier than rendering this part specifically.
This is my least favorite part, by far.
But I mean, so the morphing's like super odd. You're just like stretching them. Oh, what the fuck is going on?
There's a lot going on, particularly in the first chorus when Lockie comes in. If you look at the first chorus and Lockie comes in, there's like a shot where there's like 5 of him explode out of himself, and it's like planning for that and doing it is just real difficult now.
Yeah, this is one of the coolest fucking shots, man.
So it's like he's there,
so here,
Sab
so,
comes
okay, so,
out.
all right.
Yeah.
So you've got Loki here, one shot, then you've got another piece of footage right behind him right there.
Yeah.
And then you've got Sabian right here. Got this on the screens, wait. It's like 4 Lokis here, so we're going like Coming to My World, Killing Me Knock.
Yeah, and you can see
you know that music video, yeah?
Which one?
Coming to My World, Killing Me Knock.
No,
it's one of the first music
that?
videos they used. It's the first time they used motion control back in 2002 to make like a really complex multiplying shots.
Okay.
Same thing that you're doing here. Yeah, I'll send it to you later. It's bonkers, man.
That's not the Kylie. That's not the Kylie Minogue one, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Come into my world.
I know Kylie Minogue. She's Australian. Yep.
Yeah. She's right. Yeah. So yeah, that music video is masterpiece. Like Michel Gondry, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So. Yeah, I love fucking Big Idol, man. I would kill to do something like that. So you've got here like 4 Lokis, 5 Lokis, and you're just like you're rotoing them.
Yeah, rotoing and masking, and then just laying up multiple effects to get that morph and that smoothness and the framing, and it's meant to be a big explosion and quite intense because he comes crashing in on that part. And no, I think it's like he puts his hand out.
There's a few shots. Oh, wait, there's a few Sabians here actually too.
Yeah, and like Sabians.
Oh, no, it's the Scotty.
Yeah, he's morphing on the back of Scotty and Sab and stuff like that. I really liked it. It's definitely one of my favorites. That's just an overlay of a flare I have, and the original shot was just Lockie kind of being consumed by darkness, and I actually shrunk I took the original file, scaled it down, put a mask around him so it's a lot darker, and then I added that flare so it's kind of like circling around him. That's probably my favorite shot of the music video is the one with Mitch.
Which one?
The jellyfish with Mitch.
This one.
Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, I like them too a lot, man. They're so shiny, and like they make the what we were saying before about creating depth by having a foreground, middle ground, background, and so on, right?
Yeah.
This really nails it because it's harder to do because you cannot have a background. Because it's a top shot, so you can't have anything behind him, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you gotta make everything work within the space you got, but it just works. I think what makes it work the best is this.
Yep, and that's a layer that I added late in the process just to give it a bit of I want to say flair. I mean, it's literally a flare.
So, I never can figure out where to put those things on my own stuff, man. I gotta get better at this little final flares, that little final touch. And
I this shot here is funny though. I really wanted to, when it goes all the way down and looks at the ground, I was trying to motion track like a little explosion or something on the ground there, but it could never get a good track. So I was just like, whatever, I'll just leave it.
I don't think how you're gonna track that unless you're tracking pebbles on the floor, which I've done plenty, but it's not really the right way of doing it.
It was just a last minute idea I had, and
So I was just going to say, and you obviously done many other awesome music videos, like I've got here already loaded up, like a bunch of Thai artist murder. I mean, you gotta understand, man, I've been listening to this band since I was 15 or 16, so, I mean, all right, back in Spain, when I was 15 with teenager times, right? And somebody said like Australian metal, it would go like Parkway Drive, Thy Art Is Murder.
Yeah, right.
That's pretty much it, you know, because they were like the two. I mean, am I forgetting somebody major? Maybe.
I mean,
those were like the two big, you know.
Definitely on the heavier
metal
side. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, for me now, like being the interviews of like the artists or the music videos is like so cool, man. And I love this one a lot, by the way. Like, all right, so first of all, how many camera sensors did you kill? Because lasers, man.
Yeah, those lasers. Oh, yeah, it's funny that scene in the boardroom, the yellow scene. We actually, the lasers we hired were burning the wood on the wall because the lasers were so powerful. Like they were so.
No, those are lasers that will kill cameras.
Oh, absolutely. Sure. They'll kill your eyeball. So like.
Oh yeah. They'll blind you. They can make you go blind, right?
But we were very smart, and we approached each scene when we had the lasers. Be like, hey, you know, this is where they're going to be. Camera sensor. Which way is the camera moving in this scene?
Camera sensors and human sensors to like out
exactly.
Of the way. Yeah. No, yeah, you got to be careful with lasers, man. I guess I've seen plenty of accidents happen. I've seen a few expensive cameras die live in front of me. Not my camera, but somebody going with a really expensive camera on a festival shoot, and I'm just like, dude, are you sure?
Yep.
I'll be fine. Laser points from this big stage, like massive laser show, you know, goes into some red sensor or something. Yep. And then sensor starts flickering, and then the green lasers here, like, dude. Wait, come on, man. This shot, dude. This is how did you kill a camera here, man?
Well,
this is baller, huh?
So like that's just got like a flare filter on the camera, and those lasers are just low-powered like laser pointers we attach to the ground. Yeah,
this
that one. Yep. Attached to the gun.
This is a flare.
And that's just a flare from like a generic light torch we attach to the gun.
Okay, it's just this video gave me so much anxiety, man. I was as a filmmaker, as a camera guy, I'm just going like,
it was, dude, this was like so much fun to make. Like we loved it. It was so much fun.
I bet. Like I can see this music video being a ton of fun, and it's not like its supervision is like amazing, man. It just works, dude. But it's not that complex, is it? Like it's just a location and a bunch of.
Yeah, it was a huge. We did this over 2 days, and it was fucked. It was very busy, and like again, when I do music videos, I just want to do something that looks cool on camera. I'm not trying to overthink it too much. If it looks cool on camera and people think it's cool, like I think that's the goal is achieved.
Yeah, because they're all very aesthetic. Exactly, they're not necessarily trying to tell a very specific story that you're supposed to understand in a very specific way. Sometimes it's more about the interpretation of the sound and the intensity of the sound, right? And I think the Alpha Wolf one gets that. The previous one we discussed. Whenever you're ready, it gets that point more across a bit better because it's more abstract visually.
Yeah.
Here they're actually factually doing things, right? Like they're actually opening a box, pulling something out.
This one has a bit of a structure because the boys wanted a bit of structure in the video, and I had to kind of figure something out.
Yeah. And politics aside or whatever, man, I really love CJ's acting, man. He's just fucking kills
CJ's
it, man.
Amazing, man. Like he's
dude, like alright, so is this him doing this? Is this you directing him, or what's going on here?
So when I work with bands, I'm lucky that, you know, with Alpha Wolf or Parkway or with Thy Art, like the front men of those bands are just naturally great at performing. And that's why they're good frontmen. So when I'm like, hey, CJ, I need you to stand here. We're going to perform the song. You know, just look into the camera for this take, and we'll refine it in the second take if I don't like this one. And he'll do it. And he'll do his arm movements, and you know, he'll raise an eyebrow or open his eyes up crazy. And I'm like, cool, perfect, you nailed it. Like I don't need to tell you anything.
What do you think, from a band's perspective? What can a band do to get the most amazing music videos done? Like from a band's perspective, you know what I mean, right? How would they approach a filmmaker? How would they approach an idea? What would they do in terms of budget? Do they come to you with a budget? Do you give them a budget? Who deals with things like this? Like,
yeah, so if you're a band, and it depends on what level of band you are.
Yeah.
You know, if you're a local band and you don't have a lot of money, and you might go, hey, we've only got, you know, $2 or $3 grand to make a video, you're pretty limited. You might be like, hey, we can probably get a warehouse and hire some lights, and we can hopefully create something that's kind of dynamic and looks polished. You're not going to be reinventing the wheel with that type of budget. But if a band like Alpha Wolf comes to me where there's a bit more of a budget and they go, hey, the record label's given us this much money, what can you do with that? And I can go, hey, I really would love to create something like this based on the music, and I'll listen to the song and get a vibe for it. And it's super important for me to be invested in the idea. I find it difficult for a band to come to me and go, we want to create this. And I might be like, I don't really think that's a good idea. So it's difficult for me to put in 100.
You're picky.
Yeah, exactly. And it's difficult for me.
I get it.
Content over the 10 years I've been doing Third Eye, where I've put myself in a position where I can dictate projects a bit more. Exactly. So if you're a band and you want to come to me, you go, hey, we've got X amount of dollars. This is the song. We'd love for you to pitch an idea to us. That's a great thing for me, because I might go, hey, I'd love to create this crazy music video. And they might go, geez, that's a bit weird, but, you do make cool music videos. That's great.
Your work speaks for you, so it's a different story here.
When you look at other big bands and their music videos that are classics, like, if you look at the Foo Fighters and you look at Everlong by the Foo Fighters, like, that's a really weird music video. Do you think Dave Grohl pitched that music video to the director? I think the director pitched that to Dave Grohl, and they said,
which one again? Foo Fighters? Which one?
Oh, like for Everlong, for example, where it's like they're all in bed dreaming and they're like fighting off the bad guys in the dream.
Forever Young? Forever Long?
Everlong by the Foo Fighters.
Everlong. Yeah, got it, yeah.
And,
okay.
You go, Dave Grohl's probably not pitching that idea to the band, to the director, I should say. The director is going, I want to do this type of music video for the song. So you're leaving it in you're leaving the creative decisions to the director, who knows what's best.
Obviously.
And then some bands might go, oh, we want to do a video where there's a girl and she meets a boy. Like, yeah, that's boring. No one wants to watch that. We've already seen it. I don't care if I don't even care if your song is literally about a boy meeting a girl. Like, you got to trust the director, the creative. Yeah.
So you got to put yourself in a position where you can say no, basically.
Well, yeah, that is certainly important. And, the only way you're going to put yourself in that position is by being good at what you do. And the only way to get good at what you do is by learning and failing and doing a lot of work.
Yeah, I'm fucking doing it, man. Because a lot of people's like, oh, I want to make music videos. And then I'll be like, how many have you done?
Yeah,
and they'll be like, I haven't done any yet. I haven't had any chance. And then I'm like, oh, Tavi, shut the fuck up. Go make a music video right now.
Totally. And I've been on sets. I've been on sets where people and crew members want to go, oh, I want to do this music video. They'll tell me ideas on the set. And I'll be like, hey, I don't want to do that for my video. But why don't you go make a music video that incorporates those ideas? And they'll just never do it.
So, well, that's basically the thing a band has to do if they want to get a great music video done with Ben, the Third Eye. It's first of all, trust him.
Yeah.
But when I say Ben, the Third Eye, I mean any competent music video director will tell you guys the same thing always.
Exactly. It's not...
Trust your film director, be straight with budgets and things like that. And I don't know, what else would you say? What are the secret keys to get great music videos to be effectively made and you know what I mean, at a good cost?
You can go to someone like me or any other great director and be like, hey, we want to make a video. The thing is, putting trust in them and, being very clear with money, clear with time, hey, we need this video in a month. And, being organized on your end, coming to set with a good mindset, understanding what you might want to get out of the video as a performer. And I guess, when you're going through the drafts, you shouldn't overthink certain things. A lot of videos I've done, I've had bands overthink sections where in reality, the cut or the version that they want to change is totally fine and it ends up killing the flow. So it's just trusting the process a lot of the time.
Yeah, and I was just to end really quickly. So with big bands, sometimes maybe a manager will be like, all right, send me a proposal for a music video. And I'll be like, okay, I'll just work for like a whole week making a massive PDF or like not a week, but a few days preparing a cool idea or something, right, for X big band, and send that over, and the manager will be like, fine, cool, I'll let you know, right? And then I'm just like, am I talking to the band? The band does like this idea or not? Like, I would like to go a bit more back and forth with the band themselves.
Yep.
How does it work for you? Because you work with really, really big bands. So how does this function?
I mean, I've been on two sides of this where I have dealt with management over in America or dealt with, somebody who isn't in the band. And
right.
That is, it's funny. I almost think like the end result doesn't matter nearly as much because the band just don't care. The band is like, oh yeah, cool, we're out of music video, and they're essentially just.
So you're saying a band that does not deal directly with the music video director, and they rather just have their manager deal with the music video. It won't matter much the end result of the music video because they don't really care. That makes sense, yeah.
Because they're just essentially being told, hey, be at this place at this time, and you're going to be doing a music video, and they're like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Whereas bands like Alpha
losing
Wolf,
passion of it, though, no?
Pardon?
Losing the passion of it.
Yeah, well, it's just like maybe something that's not important in the scheme. Like they might care more about the music rather than like, the music video, which is totally
definitely
fair.
Met a few bands like this, yeah. Yeah.
And but like we're dealing with Alpha Wolf or the Thy Art or the Parkways.
They really care.
They really care because, Thy Art is managed by Marshy, their guitarist, and Parkways managed by their guitarist.
Yeah.
Alpha Wolf is pretty much self-managed by their guitarist, and Sabian is a media guy as well. So Sabian understands how difficult a music video can be to create because he understands the process. So
Sabian has been by far the smoothest person I worked with in terms of metal videos and stuff like that, yeah.
Yeah, so he knows like, hey, what do you need from me to get organized? And I can tell him, and he goes... he knows what's up. He knows why I'm asking that question and why I'm asking for him to do certain things.
He made me feel safe doing stuff for him.
Yeah.
He made me feel that if I put in effort, like for example, the live video we made here in Vietnam, it was kind of like a half-free thing. One thing about Sabian that made me feel is very comfortable at spending effort and putting in effort to make something good and proper. He really made me feel that it's going to be useful for something. It's not just going to be wasted effort, which happened more often than not.
Yep.
With big bands, especially the bigger the bands, the more I waste my efforts. And this is kind of like, man, I don't know, maybe I want to work with X super famous band, not gonna say the name, right? But is it really worth my time?
Sure.
If they're just gonna like ignore things, or they're just gonna have attitudes, as you're saying, it seems like they don't really care about it, and they just like, oh, be here at this place at this time or something, and they don't really give a fuck about what you do in music videos or something. So it's kind of like, yeah, I don't know, it silenced me slightly. I also understand it, I get it. It's, for some people, it might be a business, people get family lives or something, maybe bands. Maybe people can outgrow their own band as well, happens.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Life is complicated, there's a lot of moving parts.
Exactly, but for the most part, you're saying that in your case, dealing with managers directly, not really your thing, is it?
No, and the thing is, a lot of bands I work with is, I can talk to the band and, be direct with them, and, circling back to Alpha Wolf with the music video whenever you're ready. Like, I was backstage with them a week before we were shooting, just brainstorming ideas for the 3D elements, and, that type of creative process is really, really great.
Communication. Having great communication, like creative communication, is very important. It's not about getting someone's proposal or someone's pitch or someone's idea and then decide if you go ahead with that or not. No, it's about the back and forth, right? Yep, exactly. Hanging out with them and so on, and you're doing the photography for the shows as well, right? And so on. Yeah. Awesome, man.
But I think the key takeaway, if you want to create cool music videos, is, get some ideas that you're really passionate about, see how you can mold them together to create something new, and look at the environment that you're creating the music video for, and how does it stand out in that environment. So like I said,
what do you mean? Environment, like social environment, or
talking like about the discourse of heavy metal music. So you look at American metalcore music videos and they all kind of look the same. And you look at Australian metalcore music videos, and they can all kind of look the same as well. And it's like, how do you create something that is going to help the band stand out visually. And I think
Right.
like that's the whole point of a music video, is to help. Essentially, it's a marketing tool for the song.
So you don't want to follow a trend.
Yeah, there's no point.
A lot of people really like following trends here. It's a big fight. Huh?
Yeah, well, it's just like, you can follow a trend, but how long is that trend going to last you for? And
Exactly.
I've been doing this for 10 years now, and I've outlasted 3 or 4 trends I've seen in videos. And like a good example is with Akudama. Akudama is very ahead of its time, probably
Super.
by like a solid 2 years before other bands started just pumping out very similar clips. And if you're a band in 2023, 2024 doing those types of clips, you've already missed the boat with that idea getting you ahead of everyone else.
Yeah, that's the problem of copying things. If you copy things, you're always going to stay behind.
Yeah.
Because there's always someone creating it in front of you, right? So if you're just going to take away from somebody else that's creating, you're always going to be second. You're never going to be first.
And a lot of people go, well, how do you create a trend? It's like, you just got to be passionate about your artwork and your artwork.
Yeah. Do you want to give any shout outs to your crew, people that works with you?
Yeah,
tell me that.
I've got a very tight crew that I work with, and they've been very, very good.
We want to
me.
mention them here, and I will put their description down on YouTube, on the YouTube description, of course.
Yeah, sure. So the people that I work with often who have been absolute legends and lifesavers is my producer Todd. Todd's been really helpful with organizing and getting things running as smooth as possible on set. And Mickey is a fantastic second shooter and a fantastic grip, and he's also been acting in Thy Art music video, so he's been.
So what's your next thing that you're gonna get into, something you want to shout out or whatever? Like,
yeah, well, I'm pretty much working with Parkway full time now, so for the next year I'll be with those guys, and maybe
they got you on a leash.
Yeah, so
a freak on a leash.
So the only music video that I'm doing this year was that Alpha Wolf one, and then I'm with Parkway. So Parkway, I'll be doing a lot of media creation and looking after a lot of stuff.
Yeah, you're doing a lot of trailers, posters. I've seen photography as well, right?
Yeah, so I'll be with those boys. It'll be nice to have a break from some music videos, because in 2023 I did all these Thy Art ones, and I went on tour in that and did a bunch of Polaris music videos. And you just need to have a break, get those creative juices regenerated.
Photography is instant, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit easier.
Sometimes I enjoy doing photography just for like people who look at me like, why are you doing photography? Well, for what, man? I'm a cinematographer, VFX, whatever. And it's just like, you know what, man? I go with photos, I go pop, I go home, minute later, it's done.
Yeah, exactly.
Basic videos are just like, dude, like from A to Z, there's months or weeks, minimum days, like at least days. You can't make a music video in less than a day for sure, unless you're going like competition mode, non-sleep, go for it. You can't do it.
Yep.
So it's like photos, man. They're just satisfying, isn't it?
Yep.
It's like easier satisfaction. It's like a candy you eat quick and.
Yeah, I love it, man.
I know. Yeah, I get you. All right, so Parkway Drive, and that's about it then.
Yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man. If you're ever here in Saigon, you know where to stop. We'll bring you around, get you some good food, go toy around with tools or whatever, and I go to some shows